Second. All right. Yeah, we're live on Instagram as well. So, yep. Hi, Hamid. Nice to see
Hi,
you.
nice to see you.
Hi, everyone. If you're joining us, whether you're here or you're not, if you're going to be watching this later, this is Hamid. Hamid is a certified inspector here in Texas, and currently we are in Dallas, Texas. Hamid has been doing this for quite a while. And as a matter of fact, at least 10 years. And he's done a lot of construction before he went into what's it called, home inspection. Amit is married. He's been married for 20 years with beautiful four boys. He's got a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 13, and an 11-year-old. Hamid, the floor is yours. Tell us everything you want to tell us about the inspection. And just so you know, guys, this is Hamid's first time. So bear with him and bear with us.
Yep.
Enjoy whatever he has to share. He's got some nuggets. So, yes, Hamid, the floor is yours.
Hello, guys. When it comes to home inspections, pretty much every state have different issues or whatever, but we're talking about Texas in here. So when it comes to home inspections, a lot of people ask the question, should I do a home inspection or not? It's always a good idea to do the home inspection, even if the house is brand new. Not because the builders want to miss anything, but of course there is miscommunication, people forget things or different reasons, but we always find things even on a brand new construction. So when it comes to home inspections, there are a lot of important things to check for. We always tell people that there are five the big money issues. We put them like this, like foundation, roof, heating and cooling, which is HVAC system, electrical, and plumbing. Those are the five big items. So how we do the inspection pretty much. We do this every day. It's just the same routine, no matter the size or the age of home, is same routine pretty much. Same. We start at one area and we finish at same area. We go all around. So when we do the foundation, for example, myself, I have a device. Is a foundation level. It's called a zip level. It's the same level that foundation companies and structural engineers use to check the foundation levels. And here in Texas, it is very important because we have foundation issues in here. And there are different ways that we check the foundation with a level. We look for so many different signs of movements. Some of those signs can be, of course, cracks, doors that do not latch, doors that stick at the frame, windows that are misaligned, or many different ways to check the foundation and to come up with a conclusion if it's performing or not. So we have kind of two different ways of buildings in here. For example, before 65 in here in Texas, they used to do a crawl space like pier and beam foundation. Nowadays, they do a slab foundation. Those are two different ways.
Mm.
And pier and beam, of course, we crawl under the house if there is room, and we check all the beams and piers and everything that is under the crawl space. And like I said, slab foundation, we just use a zip level and all the other signs that we come up with conclusion if the foundation is performing or not. That is about the foundation. So when it comes to the roof, for example, we just, of course, myself, many others don't, but myself, we physically climb the roof if we can, if it's possible. 95% of times we climb the roof physically. So what we look for on the roof, of course, damaged shingles, shingles that they are not installed properly, flushing. There are so many things to check, but and we always find things, uh, no matter what the age of home. There is always something to find. The question is how important or how serious the problem is.
Mm.
So roof, I mean, typically here in Texas we have asphalt shingles, but you can have metal, you can have different kind of shingles in here. You can have metal, you can have wood. I rarely see it in here in Texas, but you have metal and you have tile roofs. When it comes to heating and cooling, of check the temperatures. we have a device that we check the temperatures, like if the cooling is cooling properly or if the heating is heating properly, and if the units are installed properly, if there is any thing that leaks, or because many times the cooling system can um, for example, for the cooling system, there are two drain lines. One is called primary drain line, the other one is called secondary drain line. So the primary drain line goes to the plumbing system, you never see it, and that's how it's supposed to be. If you see water coming from, there is always a pipe somewhere above the windows outside or the doors. If you see water dripping from those pipes, that means the primary drain line of the AC system is clogged and the water goes to the safety pan, which that is something that we have to call out because it's not doing what's supposed to do. And of course, many, many other things to check for. When it comes to electricity, of course, there are so many things that we check for. Uh, Couple things, for example, they long time ago they used to use some kind of electrical panel brands. One of them is called Federal Pacific. The other one is called Zinco Sylvania. So those two brands, for example, they had some recalls back on the day. So if we see that kind of electrical panel, we have to call an electrician for sure. And after that is up to the professional, which is the electrician, to say what needs to be done. Because we are there to find things, and our job is to recommend a professional after that to go and do a deeper dive. Of course, for electricity too, we check for smoke detectors, which they are required. For example, smoke detectors are required in every bedroom, hallway that is connected to a bedroom, every living room, and other areas, for example. So, and we do the inspection, for example, like even if the house is 50 years old, we do the inspection like the house is brand new, because we have to report everything like the house is brand new. So verbally we can explain to the clients that hey, that thing was not required when the house was built, but we still have to report it as a deficiency. So what we look for on electrical system, we check the panel. Many times we find things that are not done properly on a panel, like double locking on a breaker. So they put two wires on one breaker, which is not supposed to be like that. We check the GFCIs. Everybody knows what GFCIs are. If people don't know, GFCIs are those outlets with they have a small button in the middle. So those are pretty much for safety. For example, let's say if a lady dries her hair in the bathroom and that dryer drops on a sink, full with water, then power shuts off. So it's for safety in few words. So GFCIs were not required a long time ago, but now they're required in different areas, which is garage, exterior, bathrooms, laundry room, and kitchen area. So we make sure GFCIs are there where they're supposed to be. We have a device to check for them, and many other things like lights that are not working, damaged outlets or outlet covers, and other things. When it comes to plumbing, there are some things. For example, think houses that were built before 1980. Maybe a lot of people don't know about cast iron piping, but cast iron piping was used before 1980. So people don't know much about that, but it is very important because cast iron piping life expectancy pretty much is 50 to 60 years. Sometimes fails earlier than that, sometimes lasts longer than that. It depends. But to replace a cast iron piping, especially on slab foundation, is very expensive. A lot of people don't know that, but that can go from $30,000 to $60,000 to replace that cast iron piping. Many people think, oh, the HVAC system, the roof is expensive. No, that is probably the most expensive thing to replace in a house if you have cast iron piping, because they have to dig tunnels under the house and replace the cast iron piping with PVC. So, yeah, every time if the house is built before 1980, especially, we always recommend a plumber to go and to check with a camera, to go inside the drain pipes and to check it with a camera. So other than that, there are so many things that we check. Well, of course, we check all the supply lines and drain pipes under the sinks and faucet handles and shower heads, and make sure that everything drains properly and no slow drain. Many different ways that we check the plumbing system. So we have a couple other tools. For example, that one of those tools is called infrared camera. Is a special camera that detects the temperature differential, so we can find leaks behind the drywall with that. We can find missing or low insulation. We can even find, for example, ducts that are leaking, air ducts. If they are leaking behind the drywall, and we can see it with that because it's different temperature. And we also check for termites. I don't know if like sometimes require a termite report. Sometimes they just want the full report. So we check for termites in almost every house and pretty much tell them if we see anything about if we see any active termites. And it's always recommended to do an inspection because if you're going to spend like whatever $500,000 or $200,000 or $1 million to buy a house, if you try to save $400 or $500 on inspection, to me, it doesn't make any sense. It's not a selling advice, is the truth. If I buy a house, if I was not an inspector, it's just like buying a $20,000 car. If you buy a used car, many people bring it to the mechanic before they buy it. If they buy it from a private party, they're gonna go bring it to the mechanic to see, hey, I'm buying something good or something needs to be checked out. So same thing for the house. If you're gonna spend $500,000 for a house, $400, believe me, is worth it. All right,
Okay.
so I don't know. That is the longest speech I ever done in my life without.
And like I said earlier, guys, this is Hamid's first time. And if you're wondering where the accent is from, Hamid, where are you from
I was
originally?
born in Albania. I grew up in Italy.
Awesome.
Albania is very small. Albania is very small country between Italy and Greece in Eastern Europe. I mean, east of Italy.
Awesome. Guys, so that's where the accent came from. Okay, so Hamid, you're going to help us. I have a few questions that I've written here.
Mhm.
And one of those questions, let's go back to the ones that we got earlier, though. Some of the questions that I think I sent to you, and I think you've spoken about some of them, um, and which is um, of all those six areas, what would you say, where would you say is the most important part of the house that someone must do an inspection on, if they must at all?
The thing is, honestly, like me, for example, I don't do one area because the house is the whole thing. It's not one. Five important things or six that you, if you're saying six, that's why I said before. The five important things are foundation, which is structural, roof, heating and cooling, electrical, and plumbing. So all to me, those are all important because of course foundation is a lot of money to fix if it has issues. Roof, same thing, is expensive. Plumbing, another thing. Remember I told you about cast iron piping if the house is older. Or any other things, even if it's not about the cast iron piping, if you have a leak behind the drywall or whatever, it's not cheap. So me myself, for example, I never try to prioritize what is the most important. The only time I prioritize which is the most important thing to fix what we find is safety, which is gas leaks or safety with electricity or, for example, railing missing at the stairway or so. Those are things that I tell people, hey, this is safety and people can get hurt. Other than that, when it comes to money wise, I don't prioritize anything because I don't want to confuse people. Just safety, I prioritize. Anything else, I can explain to them that what the cost can be to replace or fix that component, but I don't prioritize it because unless it's safety.
Awesome. I like your answer. So, guys, like he said, um, everything about the house is important to look at, but specifically, appraisers, when they come to your house, they want to look at what part of the house jeopardizes your safety. If there's a part of the house that it looks like safety is a concern, the appraiser for the lender is going to emphasize on that area to be fixed by the seller. And if you're the seller, they're going to make sure that you fix that area, especially for FHA loans, before the house can be sold. So thank you, Hamid, for that. Another question I want to point out is so you talked about roof damage, and you had one inspection done for me recently that the roof damage had hail damage on it. So
Hmm.
what would you say when it comes to roof damage with areas that have like hail or um
Wear and
natural,
tear.
yeah, weather that can typically damage the roof? What do you recommend in those areas?
I mean, first, what I tell about this because it's not like remember that for us it's very tricky how to put it on report actually. So if I think that is a health damage, for example, I put it on report possible health damage. I recommend the roofer. Now the roofers, for example, are the ones who are gonna go there and call it, be like, okay, you need repairs, you need total replacement, or it's gonna be just fine. Our job is to recommend the next guy, which is a professional. So if it's a health damage, for example, many times they replace it because even if there is no leak, because doesn't mean because you have health damage you have leaks on the house. But when the buyer goes to insure the house, to call the insurance company and to try to insure the house, if the insurance company sends their people there to check the roof and they say, okay, you have existing damage, we're not going to cover you. So that is when it comes to health damage, because many insurance companies, they don't want to cover somebody who already have health damage because they don't want to be like pay money for that. So when it comes to wear and tear, it depends. If it's much, then of course we recommend the roof. If it's just normal wear and tear, like tiny bit, of course we call it out, but we just tell them to keep an eye on it or something like that.
All right, so guys, like he has explained, hail damage is a major issue when it comes to insurance. So as pretty as the house may seem, if your inspector comes back to you and says that there is a hail damage, then you want to reconsider, because it could be a challenge for you down the line when you buy the house and insurance come in and they look at it. It will be a burden for you to bear, because insurance typically in Texas, and I don't know about Tennessee now, I'm not sure, don't typically want to carry on that responsibility of fixing your roof with hail damage. So thank you for that, Hamid. Another part I want
Of
to
course.
point out is so um GFC, I'm sorry, the roof, again on the roof. In Texas here, and I think some part of Tennessee too, you tend to have people that use like solar systems, solar panels.
Hmm.
Um, when you do the inspection, how do you examine if the solar panel has done any damage or could be detrimental to the house? Or
Now,
when we'll talk about that, because some of us are
yeah,
new.
yeah. So yeah, the best thing actually, because it's not like the solar panels are so close to the roof surface, so there is no device can go under the solar panel. But the only places that the solar panel can damage the roof is where they do the penetration. So the where they put the hangers to attach the solar panels to the roof. So we try to do our best to check those penetrations there, make sure that they seal them properly, and that's the best we can do, because under the solar panel itself there is no attachment. So it's not going to be any possible, I mean everything is possible, but there is no big possibility of under the solar. But yeah,
So
we make sure that the where they attach the solar panels, we make sure those areas that penetrate the roof, make sure that those are sealed properly.
okay, thank you. Another question that I have here is, you talked about GFCI
Hmm.
being in areas that have water, like bathrooms. But these days, they kind of make some GFCI outlets that you really can't see the red button, right? You don't see any
Yeah.
button on it,
No, yeah, it
right?
doesn't.
So,
Not all those outlets have to have the button, because, for example, if you have 5 or 6 outlets in a kitchen, for example, okay,
mm,
doesn't mean that all those 5 or 6 have to have the button to be GFCI protected. Maybe they are all connected to one. So if you, so it doesn't have each of them to have the button. That can simply be connected to one, and they are GFCI protected. So yeah, there are two different. Some of them have it in every one, and some of them are connected to one.
all right, so guys, you get that. So depending on the kind of house you're living now, old or new, like you said, now it's a compulsory thing for houses to have GFCI in areas where you have water, like kitchen, bathroom, garage, anywhere that you have water. So if you have an outlet in your kitchen or in your bathroom and it doesn't seem to have a GFCI, it's possible that it's connected to a main GFCI somewhere in the house. So those are the
Yeah,
part of things. Go ahead.
or can be connected to the electrical panel. So sometimes you can trip it from the kitchen, and you have to go to electrical panel, main panel in the garage or outside to reset it again. So there are certain ways to reset the GFCIs.
Awesome. Okay. So finally, the question that I have here is, um, when you do the inspection, what will be the most expensive um, that you have found so far that a buyer or a seller has to fix in a home?
Oh, I mean, for example, expensive things. Actually, I told you before. The most expensive thing that people don't know about is the cast iron piping, because now it depends on the house. Okay, because if, for example, the house I'm about to inspect right now is 6,500 square feet, built in 65. Typically, you never see this big house built on those days. Back nowadays, you see big homes because they build big homes, but back on 6,500 square feet, believe me, is like unique. So it depends on the size of the house. For example, to change a 2,000 square feet roof and to
Mm-hmm.
change a 7,000 square feet roof, of course, it's like 15,000. Let's say an example for a 2,000 square feet. To change a 7,000 square feet roof, it could be a 30 or 40,000. So those are, for example, the most expensive thing that I told you before could be the cast iron piping in general, but it depends on the size of the house. So let's say cast iron piping can be $30,000 to $60,000. Roofs, let's say, it could be from an average from $10,000 to $20,000. We're talking about average houses, not big houses. Or HVAC system, for example, heating and cooling. One unit could be from $7,000 to $10,000 to replace.
Mm-hmm.
Well, electrical panels, for example. Now it depends. If you change the whole panel, typically panels to change from those bad brands that I told you before could be like $3,000 to $4,000 maybe to change the whole panel. But it depends. For example, sometimes you have a two-wire system. Back in the day, they didn't have three wires, so they had ungrounded outlets. Two-wire system is called. Nowadays they do three-wire system. So it depends. If you have to run the third wire around the house to make it a three-wire system, of course it's expensive. But I found them all with all the years that I've been working. I've been doing this job. I found them all. Like them foundation failing, so they had spent so much money to fix it. To replace the HVAC systems, of course, replace roofs, cast iron piping. So I found them all pretty much so far. It's not like I haven't found something.
Awesome. Okay. So from your experience, what for people that buy homes, what would you say should be the area they focus on when it comes to maintenance in their home to avoid any kind of expenses or too much expenses when they want to sell down the line? What would you
Okay,
recommend?
so yeah, so what we tell people in here at least is this, especially for the foundation. If you don't have a sprinkler system, if you do have a sprinkler system, make sure to turn them on at least a couple or three times a week during the summertime, because too much moisture for the foundation, for example, um, let's say you don't have gutters on the house, okay? If you don't have gutters on the house, the water is going to go from the roof right next to the foundation. So that is going to be too much water next to the foundation. So too much moisture for the foundation is not good. Little moisture is not good either. So you have to balance the moisture on the soil for the foundation. So if the soil is too dry, we recommend to turn the sprinkler system on. If you don't have gutters in the house, we recommend to put gutters on the house, because so the water doesn't go right next to the foundation from the roof, goes to the gutter, to the downspout, and goes away. So that is one way to prevent foundation possible problems for the future. Just to water the foundation and put gutters on the house. Other things are like, for example, change the filters for the HVAC, because HVAC systems, they have filters. And yeah, those are things that you can it can help the unit, I guess, last longer, because if the filters are not changed, the unit is going to work harder because not going to have enough air to go through. Other than that, yeah, the only thing is just do all the services. For example, we always recommend to service the HVAC systems every 6 months. To call a professional, check them for pre-owned, and clean them up and all that stuff.
Okay. So if I got you right, you're saying that if they have a sprinkler, use it for like 2 to 3 times a week.
during the summertime, during the dry
Season.
period.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So during summer, use it to. How about winter? Do you use it at all?
No, because winter you pretty much have a rain. You don't have the moisture actually is going to be too much for the soil anyway. So
So avoid using your
unless you're
sprinkler in winter.
yeah, in winter actually, I mean, I don't think people use the sprinkler because typically sprinkler systems have a moisture detectors, rain sensors, so rain sensors. So when the rain sensor knows that it rained, it's not going to turn on. So it's technology.
Okay. All right. So how about the cover that you put on the pipes when it's winter, so it avoids, because in Texas I've experienced where your pipe.
Yes, it is something that yes, we always recommend that too. Like I said, I have so many things in my head right now, but yes, the cover the exterior faucets is a good idea because they can. We don't have much uh, ice in these areas, but it happens sometimes. So yes, the cover the exterior outlets is a good idea, and even if the house is occupied or especially vacant homes, we always recommend when it's very cold or freezing temperatures to leave the faucets dripping a little bit. So just a drip, because if it drips, chances are not is not gonna the pipes are not gonna freeze.
All right. So I like that you said that. And then so finally, do you have anything else to share with people before I reiterate anything? Anything extra you want to share with
No.
people? That's it.
No, no.
Thank
I mean, yeah, but as right now, I think anything else. But
Thank you, Hamid.
can you hear
Thank
me?
you. The last
Okay.
thing I
Oh, you're welcome.
mentioned, yeah, I can. Thank you. I know it's kind of slow. So the last thing Hamid mentioned is that during winter, try to turn on your faucet a little to like drip, so that way you would avoid frozen pipes in your homes. Trust me, that's a very, very expensive advice because it happened to me last winter. My pipes froze and I didn't have water for like 4 days, and I was worried like maybe my pipe is busted. So please take that advice and use it wisely. So again, Hamid, thank you. We're grateful for
Okay.
your time. We have a few more minutes to go, and Hamid is outside because he's somewhere, he's about to do an inspection on. So thank you for your time. Thank you for what you do. We
Okay.
appreciate you. And if
Thank
you
you very
have
much.
more questions, I'll just
Okay.
reach out to me for Hamit's number and his availability because he's very busy. But other than that, thank you, Hamid. Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
Thank you very much.
Have
Bye bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So that's it today about inspection. I know we kind of take it like it's not anything important. I don't quite need to have an inspection done. But trust me, inspectors have seen quite a lot, and they know that for you to spend like 300,000, 500,000, probably the most expensive investment of your life, it makes sense to have a professional come into the house to examine what you're about to spend that much money on, and that professional will be able to help you to look at if it's worth spending that much money on that house, or if you need to just take a walk and go find another house. Until next time, happy house hunting. Reach out to me if you have questions on real estate anytime. Bye.